Which feeds soil microbes faster, raw rice or cooked rice? Gardeners use both, but one of them starts a microbial feast in just days. Let's test it and see which one really builds soil faster. We started with two identical soil trays. One got a handful of raw rice grains, the other got a spoonful of plain cooked rice. Both were kept moist and covered with mulch to simulate natural conditions. Just 3 days into our experiment, the tray with the cooked rice underwent a dramatic transformation. A delicate, fuzzy network of white mycelium began to spread across the surface. This isn't mold in the way you might think of it on old bread. This is the intricate, vegetative body of beneficial soil fungi. Alongside countless bacteria, these fungi are the primary decomposers in the soil food web. They've been awakened by an easily accessible feast. The cooking process, by applying heat and water, gelatinized the starches in the rice. This essentially pre-digested it, breaking down complex carbohydrate chains and making them incredibly bioavailable. The microbes don't have to work hard. They release powerful enzymes that liquefy these starches, turning them into simple sugars they can readily absorb for energy. This explosive feeding frenzy is what we see as rapid colonization. They are converting a simple pantry staple into the very foundation of life in the soil, living carbon. Now, let's look at the raw rice. The difference is stark. It remains almost entirely unchanged. Why? The answer lies in its protective outer layers, the bran and husk. These are composed of tough materials like cellulose and lignin, which are far more difficult for most microbes to break down compared to simple starch. Access to the nutrient-rich endosperm inside is blocked. While some specialist fungi can eventually tackle these complex structures, the process is exponentially slower. The fast food restaurant in the cooked rice tray is bustling with activity, while the fortress of the raw rice remains largely unbreached. This simple comparison holds a profound lesson for any gardener. The form of the organic matter you add to your soil dictates its function. Raw, unprocessed materials like wood chips, straw, or the raw rice in our experiment act as a very slow-release food source. They are excellent for building long-term soil structure and feeding specialist fungi over months or even years. On the other hand, materials that are pre-digested, either through composting, which is a form of controlled decomposition, or cooking, provide a rapid, immediate boost. They fuel a bloom of microbial life, quickly releasing nutrients that plants can use right away. Think of it as the difference between a long-term savings account for your soil and a quick energy drink. As the days turn into a week, the cooked rice continues its journey. The mycelial network becomes denser, pulling the grains together as it consumes them. The entire mass begins to compact and darken, transforming from distinct grains into a cohesive, living biomass. This is soil building in action. The carbon from the rice is no longer just starch. It's now incorporated into the bodies of fungi and bacteria, and will eventually become stable humus. This process improves soil structure, increases water retention, and creates a reservoir of nutrients, turning a sterile medium into a thriving ecosystem, all starting from a handful of cooked rice. The difference between adding cooked versus raw rice to your garden is staggering, and the underlying science is fascinating. When you cook rice, the heat and water trigger a process called starch gelatinization. This powerful transformation breaks down the hard, crystalline structure of the starch granules, making them soft, swollen, and incredibly easy for microbes to access and digest. Think of it as unlocking a pantry and laying out a banquet of pure energy. Cooked rice releases these simple sugars and starches almost instantly, providing an immediate high-calorie feast for the microscopic life teeming in your soil. Within hours, beneficial bacteria and fungi begin to swarm the offering, kicking off a rapid decomposition process. This microbial bloom is the first crucial step in the soil food web, transforming simple leftovers into the building blocks of a healthy ecosystem. This explosion of microbial life acts like a dinner bell for larger organisms, especially earthworms. They are powerfully drawn to the feast, not just for the soft rice itself, but for the protein-rich bacteria and fungi colonizing it. As they devour the mixture, their constant burrowing action aerates the soil, creating channels for air and water and dramatically improving its structure. Their nutrient-dense castings, or vermicast, are one of the best natural fertilizers on the planet, helping to build rich, dark humus in a matter of days, not months. Raw rice, on the other hand, presents a formidable challenge. Its starches are locked away in a dense, water-resistant form. For soil microbes, breaking this down is a monumental task. It requires a long period of physical weathering and slow hydration just to begin softening the outer layers. Instead of a quick meal, it's a long-term project that can take weeks or even months to show any significant signs of decomposition, often sitting inert on the soil surface. So while raw rice will eventually break down, it offers none of the immediate cascading benefits of its cooked counterpart. For a quick, powerful boost to your soil's food web and to accelerate the creation of life-giving humus, cooked rice is the undisputed champion. So, the results from our experiment are clear. If you want to give your soil a quick and powerful microbial boost, cooked rice is far more effective than raw grains. But why is the difference so dramatic? It all comes down to bioavailability. Raw rice is like a locked pantry for microbes. Its starches are difficult to access. Cooking gelatinizes these starches, using heat and water to unravel the molecules and essentially pre-digest the meal. It becomes an immediate high-energy food source, triggering a rapid population boom in beneficial bacteria and fungi. You're serving your soil food web an all-you-can-eat buffet. This explosion of life is what transforms tired dirt into living soil. These microbes create aggregates that improve soil structure, enhance water retention, and cycle nutrients for your plants. So, the next time you have leftover, unseasoned cooked rice, consider it a gift for your garden. Mix it into the top few inches of a container or bed to give it a new lease on life. For more easy, science-backed soil hacks that really work, subscribe to Soil Story. We're dedicated to exploring the fascinating world beneath our feet to help you build a healthier, more resilient garden. Join us for the next experiment.